What's going on, guys? Killer6, and today we got a big update from Gearbox about the future of Borderlands 3. And they talk about how on April 30th they released the update to Mayhem mode and how things didn't quite go as planned, which is something that can happen when you have hundreds of employees working all from home, that they all work in different departments and you're overlapping all this stuff, and sometimes things just don't go as planned. Alright, so in phase 1 of their plans to change things, to overhaul the game, to make things better, they're talking about stat scaling and gear. Phase 1 focuses on the feedback that they received about Mayhem level stat scaling and gear changes. They are going to make those changes at the same time to complement each other. With the upcoming Guardian themed takedown, they're going to lower the health, armor, and shield stat bonuses that enemies receive on the higher levels of Mayhem. And they are also going to adjust over and underperforming gear. That means probably your yellow kicks and your OPQ systems, your Chaosins, your Monarchs. Those are probably going to come down slightly in power, while at the same time the enemy's health values are coming down as well. But also at the exact same time, all of your previous gear that you would still get on Mayhem 10 is actually going to come up in power. So what you're going to experience is something a little more comparable to how Mayhem 4 was before Mayhem 2.0 came along, which I feel like is probably a really good way to do this. Bringing up gear that was underperforming, bringing down gear that was just dominating everything in sight, and also bringing down those health, armor, and shield values on Mayhem 10, because let's be honest, they were just bullet sponges, and there's nothing really fun about just bullet sponge enemies, so it's good to hear that they're working on that. This phase will also introduce a way to see which Mayhem level your weapons and gear come from. In the item card, you're going to actually see a line that reads Mayhem level, and also the corresponding number for the Mayhem level where it dropped. You'll see this text in the same area where the anointment descriptions are. Phase 2 is going to be character balancing and build diversity. Phase 2 is going to focus on the feedback that they got from us about how characters and their action skills just aren't performing very well in Mayhem 10. In this phase, they're going to scale non-weapon sources of damage with Mayhem levels. This will include action skill damage, pets, vehicle damage, melee, slam, slide damage. All that stuff is going to get raised up to correspond with your Mayhem levels of gear. You're also going to see, to give your action skills a bigger boost, they're going to add skill damage to class mods in this phase. These class mods will introduce powerful bonuses to your action skills that will help with new builds and achieve the goal of letting you choose how you want to play your characters. This is huge because this gives us a lot more variety for builds, which is something that we were severely lacking in Mayhem 10. So exceptional news on that front. Now there's also the concern that chests and vending machines in Mayhem mode do not currently spawn gear for that level of Mayhem. That is something that is going to be corrected in the second phase. As it currently stands, they don't have the ability to change it right at this moment. They're in the process of creating data for this new functionality to work, and they will need time to test it along with all the other changes. So that is something that is upcoming. On to the next thing, performance and stability. They are always working to prioritize game performance and stability. I know that that's something that you console guys are like, oh, are they though? I know it's been a problem for you guys, and trust me, I've been to Gearbox before. I know how hard these guys work on this stuff. They want it to be the best game possible, trust me. Sometimes it's just really hard to make these things work as well as they want. So the first thing that they did to fix performance and stability after the release of Mayhem 2.0 was they had to actually remove a couple of Mayhem modifiers that were causing issues. They also have a couple of Guardian rank bonuses that were causing some issues, and they're working on these things to fix them and get them working as intended. Now, in terms of some quality of life changes, unrelated to Mayhem mode, they're testing some new stuff out. The fight for your life bonuses that they were talking about previously way back on the Borderlands show, where you're going to be able to revive your teammate a little bit easier, because I don't know if you've done this or seen this yourselves or seen this happen in my streams, but sometimes when you have a teammate that's down and you go to try and revive them, it's really hard to like lock on that revive, especially if they're moving a lot. So they're going to slow down the movement speed of the player that's in fight for their life slightly, so that it's a little easier for the player trying to revive them. Plus, they're going to give you the option that if multiple players come over, you can all team up to do the revive together, which will speed up the revive time, which is really awesome, especially for like things like takedown, when you need your teammates to get up as quick as possible. So that's a really cool feature there. Now, one of the most common feedbacks they've received, and this is something that I've harped on so loud for so long, is that named enemies need to have their own drops. They are looking at making those changes and spreading out the loot pools in a future patch. Cue the applause, cue the pats on the back for K6 here, because my boss rush video, they saw it. They saw the boss rush video, they saw the list. They're working on it. All right, they're working on it. I've talked to them, they know what the problems are, they're working on it. Now this will also coincide with an increase to the drop rate for dedicated loot. So in addition to spreading out the loot pools, they're also going to raise up the drop rate for dedicated items. So if you guys don't know what dedicated items are, for example, say you're farming the demo Skaggans. The demo Skaggans can drop the Nighthawken. It is their dedicated drop. Now that said, a dedicated drop doesn't mean that's the only place in the game you can get it. That just means that if you want to get it easily, go there. They drop it. So having them have an increased dedicated drop rate will be huge as well, especially since we have so many anointments in the game. So getting a Nighthawken to drop with the right anointment that you want will now become an easier thing to do. Now, another cool thing that they're doing is they are giving us some uses for Iridium. There is the Veteran Reward Machine, which will receive a shipment of mission-specific rewards that players can redeem once a mission ends. In addition, you'll have a good reason to pull out the Iridium Fabricator, dust it off, and start shooting out weapons with your gun, because they're considering ways to increase the rate of legendaries from the Iridium Fabricator at the cost of more Iridium for each trigger pull. So that's pretty cool. I mean, otherwise the Iridium Fabricator just sits on my wall in Sanctuary. I don't ever use it. There's generally not a good reason to use it, because at best I'm getting like purple guns. So at least this way you'll have another option to get legendaries. If you want to, waste your Iridium and do that, it's not like legendaries are hard to get randomly out in the world though. So, but at least it's something. And the Veteran Rewards Machine, I like that idea. Sounds like possibly after you complete a mission, maybe you can go there to the rewards machine and possibly get another version of the weapon with maybe different roles or something. I'm not really sure how that's going to play out. They didn't give specifics, so let's just hope for the best on that one. All right, and then finally, community feedback is vital to them. They want to thank us all for letting us know what you like and what we can improve on. They read and see all the messages. And they just, I've spoke to the guys and gals at Gearbox. They know what we want. We've made our voices heard, and all we can do is hope that they're able to achieve all the things that they want to achieve, because the road ahead can be very bright. Both of the first two DLCs were amazing. In terms of the loot, in terms of the story, everything was great. I feel like I've already got my money's worth out of just those two DLCs, and we got two more guaranteed DLCs coming. We got the Malawan, or not the Malawan takedown, but we got the Guardian takedown that's coming this month. There's going to be some changes to the Malawan takedown, I'm sure, because right now drop rates there are not good. They know that, and I'm sure that they're tweaking that as we speak. There's a lot to look forward to in Borderlands 3, and honestly, I'm excited for this, man. We've definitely done what we could to make sure that they know what needs to be changed. And at this point, I know it's tough to wait for changes, but like I said, when you have hundreds of employees working all from home, and they often work in departments that usually work hand in hand with each other, visual and sound people normally are there in the same office, and they can go over to each other and communicate ideas and stuff. Now that you have them all at their homes, it becomes a much tougher task. And then even not with that withstanding, just coding, you've got all these people working on different sections of code, and then they have to compile it all together. Sometimes things don't go as planned, as we saw with Mayhem 2.0. So with that said, I just say, please be patient, know that they're doing the best that they can, and know for a fact that they have heard us loud and clear. The roadmap that they released today, there's a link to that down in the description of this video if you want to go check that out, read it for yourself. There's some really good stuff in there, some awesome plans for the future. I've detailed them as quickly and concisely as I can here. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.